What is going on, fight fans? My name is Jake Littman, and today I'm back with another episode of the Behind the Cage Door podcast with another very special guest, Blayne Richards, or Blayne Young Gun Richards. Can't forget that dope nickname. How you doing, Blayne?
Great, yourself, brother?
Hey, you're doing real well. Can't complain. I know you're probably still living off that energy that you had from last week's victory. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Body's good to go. Still pretty jacked about the situation. I think this is going to bring a lot of good things my way. Yeah, like you said, still just riding that high from this weekend.
Absolutely. And Blayne, you beat Eric Nolan. Eric Nolan is not a slouch. He's a very good, very fun athlete to watch, a good competitor, and you pretty much made it look easy. You really destroyed him. You want to tell me a little bit about that fight, how it went, and really how you feel post-fight?
Yeah, dude, he's a stud, tough guy. I don't do a whole lot of research on the guys that I'm gonna fight right off the bat because I think that can get in one's head and stuff like that. If you're trying to look at stats and what they can do and stuff. So I just watched a little bit of film on his last fight with him, try to get some tendencies from that. But then whenever you rewatch the fight back, you like actually hear what his record is and the people that he's beat and stuff like that. And he's actually only got one loss on his record period coming from a split decision. So yeah, it was pretty cool going into his hometown. He had a packed house full of crowd and stuff like that. So going to his hometown, putting him on like that was fun.
Absolutely. And you took that fight on short notice. And I know that wasn't really what you were supposed to be doing. I know you had another fight that was booked previously. You want to tell us a little bit about that situation?
Yeah, so I was actually supposed to fight 2 weeks ago. The dude showed up, said that he wasn't going to make 170. So we said, "What are you going to make?" He said, "I can make 180." I don't care. I'm here to fight. I put a training camp together and everything like that. So we are like, "Yeah, bet we'll take it at 180." Then somehow he stubbed his toe or some shit like that or whatever. And by the time it was come on to get on the scale for media weigh-ins, he had packed all his shit and walked out the back door. So yeah, I believe it all worked out the best, honestly. He was not ready to go then. So then we put it out that we needed to find something real quick to turn me around. We got reached out by CFFC and everything fell into place.
And that's wonderful. When the CFFC called you, what was your first thought?
They don't necessarily talk to me a whole lot, so they talk to my coach. He's the one that handles all that. So they reached out to Danny Molina, let him know that, hey, we got an opportunity we can put him on for. He was like, yeah, let's do it. I don't even think he looked at the name or anything like that. He was just ready to let's go, put it on. Doesn't matter where we go.
For real. I love that, though. That's that fighter's mentality right there. Doesn't really matter who, what, when, where, why, or how. You're just ready to go fight. And that's really what I love about you and your style. You're 6-2 now. Honestly, in every single one of your fights, it's an exciting fight. It doesn't get boring. I know you've got a wrestling background, but you also come out with a whole lot of striking. I mean, big, heavy hands, nice barrage of kicks, and then you work your wrestling and your jiu-jitsu really well. So really, let's talk about Coach Dan Molina and the guys that you got working with you at Skywalker 101. What makes that place really special for you?
Dude, we're the only ones out here, honestly. We're out here like dogs. We got a room of killers. Dan Molina puts our hands together. He's our main boxing and striking coach. We do work really hard on our striking a lot and stuff like that. A lot of people ask me like, "Oh, you're a wrestler. Is that your main forte?" and stuff like that. And I tell them that that's my fallback on a lot of stuff. But I'm down to go out there and bang with anybody, honestly. And then I got one of the best jiu-jitsu coaches in the world. I honestly believe that. Scott Morton with Morton BJJ. He's put together a string of black belts here recently that are super impressive. And then the room I got is pretty crazy. We got people coming up. We got high level guys. We have Anthony Smith in quite a bit. We got some guys that have been on the Contender Series in Kedzie. That's my Russian brother. He's over here. I can't even attempt his last name, so I'm not even gonna. I'll just leave it at Kedzie. Check him out. He's a Bellator. Then we got some young prospects coming up, just like on the heavyweight circuit as well. We got Jordan Heidemann and Niles Bartland coming up. And then you saw Mia. He's a beast. He's a dog. Coming in on a week's notice, took a strap from one of your guys on the East Coast. So it's all attributed to my teammates and my coaches. Like you said, my striking's on point. I think I could have moved my head a little bit better. I got tagged a couple of times I shouldn't have, but yeah, with those guys behind us, I think we can take on anybody.
Oh yeah. And really for anybody that's watching this and hasn't watched the fight, definitely go to UFC Fight Pass and turn on the fight because Blayne came out right away with a vengeance. I mean, you cut him open right away within, I don't even know, 30, 45 seconds. It was quick. And so it's got to be to the guys that you're training with. Really for you, when you look at that training room and around you, what really has helped you the most in your growth?
Consistency. At one point in time, we definitely had a small gym where it was just a lot of me, Danny, and Scott, and just a few other guys working together and stuff. And we built the gym in Omaha to be the #1 gym in Nebraska, I think, honestly. So just staying consistent and growing that culture there, it's allowed us to bring guys in that are equally as skilled, but equally as hungry as me. They want to go out there and get it. So that allows me to put in like the rough practices, the tough practices, in and outside of the gym. These guys are down to go and get the cardios in, go weight training and stuff. And then they're smart. They're not out there doing dumb stuff on the weekend, getting in trouble and stuff. They want to be there on the weekdays and get the training in.
Hell yeah. And so one question I really like to ask, especially with exciting guys like you, what do you call your style?
On the paper, it says wrestling, but but honestly, I think it's weird sometimes when people are like, would this work? Would this work? Would this style right here work? I tell them all the time, if it works, it works. So that's basically my style. Like if it's gonna hit them, I'm down to throw it. If it's gonna take them down, I'm down. I'm ready to throw anything. So I would say my striking is just one of those freestyle fighters, is I guess what you could call it. But if it works, it works.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. Exactly.
So let's take it back to the beginning. Let's backtrack. You know, we just mentioned your pro career, but what really got you into MMA at the start?
Uh, so I wrestled in college. I actually had a buddy that played football at the college that I went to, and he was training jujitsu and just started getting into fighting and stuff like that. Uh, and he reached out and was like, "Hey man, I'm doing jujitsu in Omaha this weekend. You want to come do like an open mat with us and just get on the mat with us?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, for sure, dude." So I went to the open mat with him. With just the wrestling background, I was able to stay out of pretty much any trouble, and I was able to put it on some people that I probably shouldn't have at that point. But Houston Alexander, he used to be in the UFC, had some pretty crazy fights, fought Kimbo Slice, people like that. Put out Keith Jardine, some wild fights back in the day. He was actually training for a fight in Aruba, and just with my wrestling and stuff like that, he's like, "Hey, I need you to come be part of my fight camp with me. So I need you here on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'll work wrestling, and then I'll work with you on some striking stuff, just get you started." So my first sparring session ever was against Houston Alexander. So once I got hit by him, and I was like, "Oh, I can do this. Let's go." It's been a wrap ever since. Found Danny Molina and Scott Morton, and then it's been game over.
And so from that point forward, you always had the highest level of competition. And then you've been succeeding too. You took a welterweight strap earlier in your career. So looking forward, you know, now that you're with Cage Fury, at least for this last fight, what's really in the immediate future for you? What are you looking for?
Yeah, this weekend was a big deal for me, honestly. Like a couple weeks ago, we were kind of banking on this fight happening. We were banking on being able to get the record where I needed to be and things like that. To get the support from like management teams that I'm looking at getting signed with and big promotions and stuff. So when that fell through, that was definitely a heartache. But like I said, it all worked out like it was supposed to. Coming out to Pennsylvania, getting on the East Coast, getting my name out there, and then obviously on such a big promotion like CFFC. I think it was good to get my name to the bigger promotions that I want to work with. So next step I would say is speaking with some management teams that can get me to the next spot, and hopefully I can get on the bigger show, maybe the Contender Series later in the summer and things like that. That's what I'm looking at for sure. But whoever wants to sign that contract and pay me the most money, I'm down with whatever.
Yeah. And so is that summertime where we're looking at for the next fight?
Yeah. I would like July. I got some trips coming up in the next couple months and stuff that I'm gonna be taking for sure. So I'm gonna head to Cabo in May, and I got some other things going down too. So July sounds perfect for me.
Hey, it sounds like a plan. Everybody hear that? Book him for a fight. Let's get him going again. He's fun to watch. That's
Yes,
for sure.
sir.
So really thinking about it, obviously we want to get you back on the onto the fight scene, soon, get you another fight booked and really get you to the next level. So what are you going to be working on in between now and your next fight to really help you get there?
That's something we preach in my gym all the time. Fight camp is for you to get in shape, just get your weight down, get your like cardio up and everything like that. But you really skill build whenever you don't have a fight. So I'm always in the gym no matter what. Again, I think I got tagged a little too many times like that I would want to be. So definitely just cleaning up some of my boxing and stuff. Excuse me. I do go to a boxing gym here quite a bit. We actually have the best boxer in the world, Terrence Bud Crawford, out of Omaha. He has a gym here. I like to go there once or twice a week just so I can get my boxing skills tightened up a little bit, get my head movement good. So those are the things that I'll work on for sure. I think I'm gonna try to do some jujitsu competitions in the next month or so. That's a lot easier on the body than fighting, but it still gets me like mentally prepared to do some competition stuff. So I'll probably do that. And then, like I said, I got a little bit of a break that I'm going to take in May, but then it's back to the gym. Like I said, skill building is skills pay the bills. And then whenever it's fight time, like I said, it's working on the cardio, working on getting the weight down.
Absolutely. And so for you, you talked about some jujitsu, some grappling. One thing that I've noticed is that obviously with Eric Nolan, you ended up taking his back twice in that fight, I believe, and then ended up finishing it with his back. In the past, I've seen you finish with arm bars. I've seen you with some arm triangles. You really use your legs you really use all your limbs on the ground. So when you're on the ground, what is really your game plan? What's your approach?
With this specific fight, whenever I did watch his last film, uh, the guy took him down, and versus like going into like a guard or fighting hands and stuff like that, I did see that he kind of like crawled away. He's trying to get to the cage to work up from there. So I felt like if I could get him down to the ground away from the cage, that was going to allow me to sink those hooks in. And that's exactly what happened. Once I got the takedown a little bit away from the cage, I knew that he was going to work that way. So he kind of gave his back up pretty easy there, allowed me to throw in the hooks and the rear naked choke. Slipped in with all that blood. Honestly, pretty simple. I know that it had to be hard for his vision, and it had a hard to breathe. So I knew that I could smother him in that position. And at one point in time, if I needed to like work the face up at any point in time to get the choke in, it was going to be there. There's nothing you could do about that.
Oh yeah. And that blood came from one of those flying knees that we were talking about. But another thing that I find interesting about your style, and I feel like I keep mentioning things that I find interesting about your style, is those knees that you throw, not just that flying knee that you landed with him, but I've seen some dangerous body shots with those knees. And even on the ground, I saw you in one fight early in your career where you were on the ground and you were dropping knees down on him. In transition. So really when now the same question with your grappling and your jiu-jitsu, but now with striking, what are you really looking for when you're on the feet and striking with another guy?
Being 6'2" at 170 is definitely a blessing. Doesn't take a whole lot for me to lift the knee up to actually touch somebody's chin, especially if you're in like an actual fight stance or if you're going for any wrestling takedowns or anything like that. So I definitely do like to threaten with those knees. Keep them on the inside and everything like that. It definitely deters from the takedown. Obviously, you saw my grappling. I'm not worried about getting taken down, but wrestling sucks, man. It's exhausting. So if they wanted to do that, I'm down with doing that. I've wrestled my whole life. That's not that big of a deal for me, but I would rather keep it on our feet. I think that's more interesting for the fans and stuff. Even whenever I've gotten any of these submissions in the past, they're not like I'm not out there hold on to legs and like grinding them to this submission or anything like that. Like it comes off of the feet. It comes off of me being like quick and slick on my feet and then I transition to the ground and I'm locking it up really quick. So I think that's exciting for the fans. If I am going to get a submission or anything like that, they're like, oh, this is going to be a quick thing. This isn't going to be like a grueling, boring watch for us or anything like that. So I think that's important. I think that keeps everybody entertained, and that's what we're here for, honestly.
For sure. And for you, you want to get the crowd entertained, you want to enjoy the crowd, but you also got to leave there healthy. And I think that's one thing that I think that I've seen from you is that's really impressive is that you can take a shot and you can fire right back. And I think that's a really big part for an MMA fighter. But who cares about my opinion? Now,
I do, man. That's why I'm on this podcast.
I appreciate you, brother. Now, let's talk about Philly a little bit. How was that Philadelphia experience, walking in enemy territory?
The enemy territory part was interesting for sure. The fight that I was supposed to have 2 weeks ago, I'm from a super small town in Colorado. That's where I went to high school and everything like that. So like I graduated 20 kids in my hometown class, yeah. So super small. But the area that we're gonna fight in 2 weeks ago is actually like an hour away from my hometown. So I was the hometown guy. I had the place packed. I had all these people coming and everything like that. And to put it out there, less than 24-hour notice, like, hey, things fell through, stuff like that. So it that sucked. But then going into his hometown and everything like that, put like a little chip on my shoulder and everything. I had like a theme going. I was gonna burn the boats when I got there. The only way I was getting home was with all his shit. So I felt like we did that. Both me and Maya came out there, burned the boats. We weren't going home with anything less than what they gave us. But dude, those booze and shit, that was fun. That got me hyped. When I even got out of the cage, someone said something. I was like, "Boo louder next time." That shit got me hyped. So uh, I'm about that. I'd enjoy going anywhere besides Nebraska from now on. That was almost cooler than getting the cheers. Like uh, it's like the USC game. Whenever you beat somebody in their hometown, you take their fans and stuff like that. They might not like me, but they're gonna add me on Instagram or they're gonna follow me somewhere somehow. So I was cool with that. That was fun.
Yeah. Did you get a good cheesesteak?
I didn't get to go to like Pat or Gino's. I did get a cheesesteak, but it was from like a gourmet place. So I think that's gonna cut it in half just because it wasn't as greasy and it didn't come in a paper bag or anything like that. So I did get a cheesesteak. Um, and I told you, like after like Saturday night, they get buck in Philly. Like, uh, I'd never seen like the street race cars on the highway just doing cookies in the middle of the intersection and stuff like that. I saw more cops that night than there's in the whole city of Omaha. So yeah, no, they got buck after the bars got out and stuff like that, and then the dirt bikes and the 4-wheelers and stuff. I'd like to know what you guys law enforcement is there. Can I do that shit here? I don't know. It was wild. I never seen somebody do a wheelie on a vest before. I saw like 4 or 5 of them doing it in Philadelphia. Y'all get it.
Philly's crazy. Philly's wild. I lived there for a little bit, and yeah, it's not just a Saturday night thing. It happens daily.
But yeah. And like just cars pulling off, skirting off, cops chasing them one way, they going the other way. Like I had to bust out my phone just going down the road just to like record some of the stuff. People just hanging out their windows. It's a fun place, honestly. Like being from a small town like I am, and like my stepdad came out to watch the fight. He'd never even been on an airplane before. So he came out to the fights, obviously went out to the bar with us after and stuff, and he was like mesmerized by what was going on in the streets. It was pretty crazy.
Philly's a good place to be, and that 2300 arena is also a nice place to fight. So hopefully we can have you back there. I mean, it's a fun environment there.
Yeah. The 2300 arena was dope. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect coming out here. I didn't know what like an arena feel was going to be like out here and stuff like that. But that it's kind of a smaller place, honestly. It was like very intimate almost, so you could definitely hear when people were going wild for the crowd and stuff like that. It was so loud in there. Like I said, you could hear every boo and every crowd and everything like that. So that place was dope for sure.
compared to some of the previous venues you fought in your past?
Oh yeah. I fought in all kinds of venues. Honestly, I fought in was like abandoned basketball courts and stuff like that. So I definitely think the setup there was really cool.
Yeah, and it had the whole big production, the lights. I mean, it really is big time. I love the 2300 arena. It's really a dope place to go watch a fight.
Yeah, for sure. Um, the light setup was cool, and then like honestly, they said that that was the big cage uh, for the setup and stuff like that. So I was glad to like have a big cage to work in and everything like that. They said that there's a smaller cage uh, that leads to a lot of like grappling up against the cage, which we did and everything, obviously. But I think that the uh, bigger circle allows you to move and creates more striking stuff. So I was down with that.
Absolutely. And so for your evolution, and we talked about what's next, but for your evolution, is there anything you're looking to add to your game, something a little bit different?
Um, like I said, I took too many shots that I shouldn't have, so I got to work on my head movement. But that's that's gonna come with everything, and that's a tribute to his style. I truly don't feel like I get hit that often, and he definitely smashed me with a couple of shots. So I was like, I gotta be on my bike right now and get around the cage and stuff. So uh, he was a tough dude, and like I said, I just need to clean up a few things.
Absolutely. And so really looking at it, I mean, it was a high-paced battle. It was a war. Were you getting tired at all, or is that something that you prepare for and train for?
I definitely prepare and train for a war, no matter what. But that first round was that was back and forth, pretty heavy and stuff like that. So, but I felt like whenever I got to my corner, I was talking to my coach and stuff. We were chilling. I wasn't extremely gassed. I felt actually halfway through that round, I started to pick up my second wind. I got my hands going a little bit better after this, like the first minute. Maybe that lactic acid building up after that first round and everything like that. But I was starting to get right back into it halfway through that, and that's where that takedown came in.
Once you got it to the ground, I mean, that's where you really were dominant. And it's clear that you're comfortable on the ground, but it's also clear that you're comfortable in the striking. And I think for any MMA fighter, it's really essential that they're comfortable, even in an uncomfortable environment. And so that was very impressive. And so for you, are you looking to fight anywhere, maybe out of the country, maybe put yourself in a even more uncomfortable situation?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd love to fight somewhere else. That's like making it to the biggest stage is obviously like number one goal. But then anytime anyone asks, like, what do you want to do with this? I'm like, I want to get paid to travel. So honestly, I love traveling even outside of fighting and stuff like that. I spent like a month in Italy last year, and then I went to Egypt at the end of the year and stuff like that. So I'm huge into traveling already. So if they want to pay me to go bust somebody up in a different country, I'm down for that all day. Like, take someone off of my plane ticket. I don't care. Let's go.
Where was the coolest place you've ever been to?
Valley of the Kings in Egypt
Okay.
was pretty dope. That's like where Ramses the second tomb is at and everything like that. And so like all of that's like in the side of a mountain, and they just discovered it pretty recently, honestly. So and they're like still discovering tombs there right now. I think they just uncovered one like a couple weeks ago. But you go in there and those tombs, like all the walls and all the hieroglyphs, that's still colored. So like all the original, like the original paint or whatever they use, chalk, whatever you want to call it, is on still on the walls and stuff like that. So that was definitely the dopest place I've been so far.
Yeah,
Egypt
that
in
sounds sick.
general was cool, but that specific spot was awesome.
That sounds sick. And
Yeah.
so my last couple questions for you before we wrap this up and let you go and get back to normal life. And so that really goes into what I want to ask. What is a daily day in the life of Blayne Richards?
I'm actually in my office right now, if you can't tell. I actually work for an internet company here in Omaha. I do small business sales. So by day, I put on my Clark Kent outfit and go speak to customers about what they want for their internet needs. Check me out if you're in Omaha listening to this. Um, but then yeah, by night, basically every 4 days a week I'm at the gym, and then Saturday and Sundays I have some conditioning with some personal trainers that I do and stuff just to uh, get my cardio and everything like that. But yeah, 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, I'm at my own gym. And then during the day, I'm out here slinging internet.
Oh yeah, the grind never stops.
Never, man, never.
Never. And we love that. And then, so really one question I like to ask basically everybody that's in fighting, whether they fight or not, but what would be one piece of advice you would give to your younger self to help you in the situations that you're in now?
Trust the process. I don't think I've done anything special as far as like going, like I've trained at other gyms and stuff like that all over the country. Like I've been to some big name gyms everywhere. Uh, but like trust the process and put the right people around you. Obviously, this can be a grimy game. So if you get with the wrong coaches or if you get with the wrong management and stuff like that, that can definitely set you back. But no one's gonna get to the bigger show by not going to training. So just stay consistent, be in there, trust the process that like I didn't fight through this whole year because I think I had 7 different shows that I was supposed to fight on. At least someone backing out or something happening on all of those shows. Even 2 weeks ago, someone didn't show up. But the plan worked out just like it was supposed to. I was supposed to not have that person show up, and it was supposed to put me in Philly. Supposed to put me on the big show. All I had to do is go out and show everybody what it was about.
For sure. And you did. You went out, you showed out, and you put on a performance, something to add to the highlight reel. And really that highlight reel is going to start getting real long and it's going to start getting attention real soon.
Perfect. I hope so.
So my last question for you today, where did your nickname come from? What's the origin of the Young Gun?
All right. Yeah. So actually, my first name is Kiefer. I'm named after Kiefer Sutherland in the movie Young Guns. So whenever I started training with Houston, he asked, somebody said something, and they called me by my first name. And he was like, what's all that about? And I told him that situation right there. And he's like, that's it. It's Blayne Young Gun Richards. So I'm getting older. I might have to drop the young part, but I don't know. I feel like the rappers keep it. So I can be as old as I need to be, right?
You can do whatever you want, man. It's your career.
Exactly. So that's where that came from. Again, whenever I started with Houston and stuff like that, he just brought it out of nowhere, and it's just stuck ever since.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's a great story and a great young career so far that we followed. You know, it's still young because there's so much to do. And that Young Gun, even when it gets older, it'll stay young. So I like it. I like it. We should keep it.
Deal. I'll keep it.
I love it. All right. So before I let you go, do you have anybody you want to shout out or anybody you want to thank?
Honestly, it's all about the people that I work with. So Dan Molina, that's my boxing coach. Trying to learn how to punch somebody in the face, learn from that guy. Scott Morton, if you want to learn how to choke somebody out or break some arms and legs, learn from that guy. Otherwise, everybody at Skywalker 101, my friends and family, thank you guys.
Absolutely. Tell everybody I say hello back home as well.
Absolutely.
Amazing
My brother
people.
said that he met you in the lobby the night before, and you guys had an interesting interaction with some of the wild people out in the lobbies. So he was like, "No, dude, that Jake dude's cool, dude. Make sure you do that podcast." So absolutely, dude.
Well, I appreciate that. Lobby was interesting. It just really was interesting.
Yeah. I heard.
Oh yeah. But Blayne, thank you so much for hopping on the podcast. It was wonderful talking with you today. I'm wishing you the best of luck. I can't wait to see you back in the cage sometime soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, brother. Again, thanks for having me on here. This is my first podcast, so it's all about your podcast.
I love it. Put that down in the memories right there and spread the word. Everybody that's still watching now, like, comment, and subscribe. We got great stuff coming your way.
Absolutely. Boom.
Boom.